ויאיר ben Menashe halach וילכוד את חבותיהם ויקרא את הן Ḥavot Yair. Who is this Yair ben Menashe? Why is he mentioned separately from the rest of Hatzi Menashe? What lessons can we learn from his story? So let's start with the location. If we look across here, I'm standing now in the southern Golan Heights. Down in that valley is the Yarmukh River. It separates Israel and Jordan. That's the area known in the Torah as the Gil'ad. Now, in Parashat Devarim, it makes clear that the Gil'ad was sort of split in half. The southern section of Gil'ad was given to Shevet Gad. The northern part of Gil'ad, which comes all the way up to here, was given to Hatzi Menashe. And the very northern part, so I guess what we can see down here in the valley, maybe a little bit on top of the mountain there, and continuing to the east, all the way in the direction of what's today Syria, that's where Ḥavot Yair was. That further part of Ḥavot Yair was known as Haibel Argob, and at the very end of it was the city of Qenat, which was conquered by Nobah. Today, that's where the Druze city of Suweda is, which has been a lot in the news lately because of the violence going on there. But now the question is, why is Yair mentioned separately? If you look at Ibn Ezra and Ramban, they will reveal to you that Yair, even though he's called Yair ben Menashe, he wasn't the son of Menashe, and technically he wasn't even from the tribe of Menashe. He's actually the descendant of Yehuda. His grandfather was Hetzron, who was the grandson of Yehuda. But why is he called in so many places in Tanakh Yair ben Menashe? Well, it's because he came to live with the Hatzi Menashe, and it's because his grandmother, whose name was Abiyah, she was a descendant of Menashe. She was the daughter of Machir, who was the son of Menashe. So even though usually we go by the father, in this case, we went by his grandmother, and he became identified as from Menashe. Now, if we do a quick search throughout the Tanakh at all the places in which this region of Ḥavot Yair are mentioned, we'll see that the split identity comes into play. Sometimes it's referred to as being part of Menashe, sometimes as part of Yehuda. One place that it's referred to as Nahalat Yehuda is when it describes the borders of Naphtali. Naphtali in Sefer Yoshua we see is on the other side of the Kinneret, but it says that in the southeast it bordered Yehuda across the Jordan River. So that shows that, whereas we might choose to identify as one thing, others will see that aspect that we wanted to hide or didn't choose to display as prominently. So in the eyes of Naphtali, for example, this was Yehuda. And another place where this area is referred to as Yehuda is in a phase of reconquering. This is a frontier region, so naturally it'll be the first to be invaded by our enemies when we're weak, but then when we're strong, we'll reconquer and expand. So, whereas in the Torah it says that there were 60 cities, later on, the number of cities changes. So in the days of the Shoftim, it goes down to only 30. Because then, Bnei Israel were more on the defensive, and they lost perhaps the areas further east, but they were only able to hold on to the areas that were closer to the core of the country, here in the Gil'ad, those 30 cities. Then in the days of Shlomo HaMelech, for example, it goes back up to 60. And in one of these phases of expansion and reconquest, it says that Yerab'am, Melech Israel, the second king Yerab'am, he returned this area back to Yehuda b'Israel, all the way up to Damascus and Hamat. So it was a very large expansion, reaching all the way up to Damascus and further north, regions that today are well in the depth of Syria. Because it was a phase of reconquering, then all of a sudden the identity of Yehuda comes out, and I think that's because Yehuda versus Menashe, or Menashe's son of Yosef. Yosef we refer to as Yosef HaTzadik, sort of the person who was always righteous. Whereas Yehuda in the Torah is a character more of ups and downs, a Baal Teshuvah. So in a phase of reconquering, when we become strong again, that's when the identity of Yehuda comes out more. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.